Most weeknights, the Meeple Mate Cafe in Hongdae was a soft blur of neon, lo-fi playlists, and the gentle percussion of plastic pieces tapping wooden tabletops. Thursday was usually thin on crowds, but word had gone out on social media that the cafe had received a single prelude copy of a mystery game called Silent Suspects. The designer, a reclusive European who used the moniker LYS, had supposedly printed only 12 prototypes worldwide. That rumor was honey to hobbyists, so by 7:30 every table was occupied. Hannah Min, a graduate student trying to delay another night of thesis revisions, slipped through the door with her friends Jun and Yuna. The host directed them past shelves of everything from Carcassonne to Zombicide to a corner booth where the square box waited like an unopened letter from a secret admirer. Its matte cover displayed a stylized magnifying glass hovering over Seoul's skyline. "Reserved for you three," the host said, then leaned closer. "If you solve it fast, please tweet about it. The publisher is watching." June cracked his knuckles. "We'll solve it before the next latte arrives." Hannah doubted that. June's self-confidence was directly proportional to the caffeine in his system, and tonight he was already vibrating. She unboxed the components, a fold-out map of an upscale apartment building, 6 suspect standees, a deck of evidence cards, and a set of chunky black dice whose faces were pitted with odd extra holes, as though the factory drill bit had hiccuped. Yuna, ever the aesthete, snapped pictures for Instagram. "These miniatures are spooky realistic," she murmured, arranging the standees in a row. "They look like actual people." Hannah shuffled the suspect cards. On each was a charcoal sketch of a resident. The sommelier, the code broker, the retired general, the tattooist, the idle trainee, and the day trader. They were richly detailed, more portraits than caricatures. The day trader's slick hair caught a precise highlight. The idle trainee's anxious eyes glimmered with stage lights. June pointed across the cafe. "Wait, isn't that the same guy?" At the espresso bar, a man in a crisp tan blazer scrawled stock charts on his phone. His face, hawkish and intense, could have been lifted straight from the day trader card. 2 tables away, a woman with a sleeve of sakura tattoos was explaining rules of King of Tokyo to newcomers. She mirrored the tattooist standee. Hannah scanned the room and matched every card to a living patron. Yuna let out a theatrical gasp. Did the cafe hire cosplayers? The host shook his head as he passed by with a tray of honey-buttered toast. "No costumes, pure coincidence." "Or marketing genius," June whispered, thrilled. They read the rule book. The objective: deduce which suspect stole an encrypted drive containing 44 bitcoins from the apartment's penthouse vault, identify the hiding place, and uncover their motive, all before a sand timer ran out. Straightforward, except for a cryptic final clause. When the last die falls, reality and game converge. Trust your senses. Pretentious, Jin judged, but Hannah felt a prickle in her scalp. The designer had to know the cafe's layout or typical clientele to craft this uncanny overlap, unless copy number 12 had been rigged uniquely for Seoul. They set up the scenario. Each player received hidden clue cards granting private information. Hannah's card read, "The code broker owns a 3D printer and dislikes tight spaces," along with a hazy grayscale photo of a walk-in closet. June's card, "The retired general sleeps with the windows open even in winter." Yuna's card simply bore a QR code. She scanned it. A 7-second video played. The tattooist hunched over a desk, rolling a die under a magnifying lamp, then sliding it into a velvet pouch. "So the dice matter," Yuna said. Hannah flipped her sand timer. Round 1. They peppered each other with questions, traded theory, marked the apartment map with colored pencils. No mechanics required speaking to the real patrons, but the allure thickened every time the day trader laughed or the tattooist brushed her pink fringe behind an ear, duplicating motions on the standees. By the 3rd round, June couldn't resist. He sauntered to the espresso bar and returned with reconnaissance. Day trader's name is Lee Woo-jin. He's here every Thursday. Says he's never heard of the game. Did you tell him he's literally in it? Yuna asked. June beamed. Of course, he thought I was flirting and told me to buy Bitcoin. Hannah half listened, distracted by the dice. Their faces weren't standard pips, but concentric geometric symbols. She angled one under the pendant lamp. The extra drill holes June had mocked weren't random. They formed a microscopic circuitry pattern, glinting metallic. When she looked up, the retired general standee had toppled. In the actual cafe, an elderly man beside the window pushed back from his table, wobbling. He knocked over an Americano, staining a napkin like blood. A barista hurried with towels. The man steadied, apologized, resumed his seat. Coincidence, Hannah told herself. They pushed onward, annotating timelines, eliminating alibis. The code broker's 3D printer timestamp contradicted his claim to be stuck in traffic. The idle trainee's dance rehearsal ended too early. She had window to commit the theft. Each deduction birthed more connections to their surroundings. Choreography squeals from the group playing Dixit matched the idol's bio. The cafe Wi-Fi labeled Jen Choi aligned with the retired general. After an hour, they narrowed it to two culprits, the code broker or the tattooist, hiding the drive either inside customized dice or behind the liquor rack. The motive track pointed to debt. Only one combination won. Sand in the timer thinned. Final turn. Yuna rolled all 6 black dice for the endgame challenge. They clattered, one tumbling off the table. It struck the floor with a hollow ping, splitting along a hairline seam. A thin rectangle, no bigger than a fingernail, slipped out. June scooped it up. A micro SD card. Hannah's heart raced. The dice were not mere components. They physically held data. She pried open another die with her metal water bottle's cap. Empty this time, but wiring inside suggested compartments. Yuna whispered, "We need to see what's on that card." June pulled a laptop from his backpack. He never traveled without it. They nestled the card into an adapter. A single encrypted file populated the screen, named SatoZip. Password protected. The sand timer ran out, grains piling in the glass's neck like snow on a grave. The box's speaker, previously silent, emitted a soft chime. Its tone spread across the cafe's speakers, hijacking the lo-fi playlist. Every patron paused. A synthesized voice, sexless and calm, flooded the room. Players have solved enough to pierce the veil. Lost step. Present suspect, location and motive to claim your prize. The cafe lights dimmed. LED strips along the shelves glowed anxious red. Baristas froze, confusion etched in the gloom. The host mouthed an apology, swiping his tablet futilely. Hannah stood, her knees wobbled. "This is part of the game," she said to the room, though uncertain. The voice resumed. "If you are not playing, stay seated and silent. If you are in possession of the dice, approach the counter," Joan whispered. "Hannah, this is getting Black Mirror fast." But Hannah felt something shift inside. An academic curiosity fused with adrenaline. She gathered the faulty die halves and the intact set, walked to the counter, June and Yuna behind her. 20 pairs of eyes traced their path. The host, cheeks flushed, gestured at his tablet. "The audio override isn't on our system." "I don't know where it's coming from." The tannin of fear seeped into Hannah's mouth. Maybe this wasn't marketing. Maybe it was a Trojan horse, trussed up as a luxury puzzle. The dice grew warm in her palm, or she imagined it. The voice. "Present your deduction. 1 attempt only." She inhaled. "The tattooist stole the drive," she declared. Across the room, the tattooed woman stiffened. "She hid the crypto keys inside dice she manufactured with the code broker's printer," Hannah continued. "Her motive was debt, gambling debts, maybe." Silence, then. "Partial truth," the voice corrected. "Identify full conspiracy or forfeit." A collective murmur rose. The real tattooist's eyes darted to the exit, muscles tense like a sprinter at blocks. June blurted, "It's both of them, the code broker and the tattooist colluded." Light strips flickered white. "Collusion exchange plan." Hana's mind raced back to the mini-video on Yuna's phone. Tattooist rolling a die under light velvet pouch. Her hidden clue about the code broker disliking tight spaces. Why relevant? Suddenly it clicked. He feared customs inspections. He'd outsourced courier duty to the tattooist, who carried portable art kits across borders without suspicion. The printer piece. He'd crafted the dice shells. She smuggled them as part of her gear. The code broker fabricated hollow dice with the drive fragments split among them, Hana said. The tattooist transported them. They'd reassemble the keys once she delivered the dice back to him tonight. She lifted the halves. "Right here?" A thud interrupted. The tattooist's chair toppled as she dashed toward the restroom corridor. Simultaneously, a lean man in hooded parka, Hana hadn't noticed him before, rose near the RPG section and cut her off. Panic crackled. Chairs scraped. Yuna cried, "Not part of the game!" The hooded man seized the tattooist's wrist, twisting. She hissed from pain. Something metallic clinked to the floor, a tiny Allen key, tool for opening dice. The cafe air throbbed with shock. Before anyone reacted, the hoodie produced a box cutter. "Hand them over," he ordered, voice low, English accent. The reality/game divide shattered. This was crime, not cosplay. Hana clutched the dice like a live grenade. June stepped in front of her, arms spread. "We don't want trouble." "Then drop them." The blade flashed. Yuna, trembling, thumbed her phone beneath the table, attempting emergency call, but the voice-over speakers resurfaced, louder. "Unregistered actor detected. Terminate connection." All lights plunged to black. Screams. Cups smashed. Electric buzz and emergency lamps snapped on, bathing the cafe in sterile blue. The hooded man was gone along with the tattooist. Exit door swung on hydraulic hinge. Hana's breathing rasped. She still held the dice, cold now. Baristas rushed to lock the door, but June stopped them. "We need police, not lockdown." Outside, Hongdae's neon-painted windows rose and fell like a tide, but the street was otherwise calm. Their assailants had seconds lead. June grabbed Hana's wrist. "We can't chase knife guys." But Hana's graduate thesis was on blockchain forensics, how cryptographic assets moved through illicit channels. Someone had just dropped 44 bitcoins into her lap, current market value north of $1 million. More importantly, those assets belonged to someone else. She palmed the microSD. That at least was secured. "I'm not chasing them," she said. "I'm staying with the evidence." The host finally regained control of his audio system. Lofi beats resumed over weak speakers. People murmured, filming everything, some live streaming. Police sirens danced faintly in the distance. Perhaps a bystander had already alerted them. Yuna slumped into a chair. "This is insane. Who designs a board game as a handoff method?" June paced. "Geniuses. No X-ray picks up dice filled with chips." They assumed enthusiasts would tinker and accidentally transport sensitive data. If caught, they'd claim it was part of the game. Hana nodded. "Geocaching meets social engineering. And we triggered the handoff prematurely." The abdominal knot of guilt tightened. They might hurt that woman. "You still think she's a victim?" June asked. "She built the dice." Hana's phone vibrated with an unknown number. Against instinct, she answered. "Listen carefully." A male voice rasped, acoustic static, suggested he was outside, moving fast. "You have something belonging to me. If you bring it to Yeonam station lockers within 1 hour, no one gets hurt." Hana's gut iced. "Who is this?" "Call me Lice." The same name as the designer. Number 13. Then the line cut. Yuna gripped Hana's shoulder. "You're shaking." Police arrived. 2 patrol officers first, then detectives. They questioned staff and customers. Hannah, Jun, and Yuna were led to a quieter nook. Detective Park, mid-40s, eyes lined with exhaustion, listened as Hannah recounted everything. At the word Bitcoin, his brow arched. "We've monitored theft reports from an exchange hack last month," he said. 44 coins is suspiciously specific. He lowered his voice. "Did you copy the data?" "It's encrypted," Hannah said. "But I secured the SD card." She handed it to him. He bagged it. "Good. You'll still come to the station for statements." A uniform collected the dice as evidence. They were sealed into transparent envelopes and taken to a cruiser. Relief sank through Hannah's limbs. She slumped against Jun. It was past midnight when they exited the cafe, released after hours of forms. Rain glazed the street. Detective Park assured them they were safe. Units were canvassing CCTV to track the suspects. Hannah believed him until she reached her apartment and found her deadbolts scored with fresh tool marks. Not breached, just a warning scratch across brass. She spent the night at Yuna's tiny studio, their conversation looping back to the night's unreality until exhaustion silenced them. Morning headlines exploded. Board game cafe heist tied to cryptocurrency laundering scheme. The cafe's security footage, blurry but vivid, showed Hoodie's blade and Hannah clutching dice. Comments accused staged marketing, others cried hoax. Still others tallied Bitcoin's price surge. Classes were impossible. Hannah met with Detective Park again to review newly discovered evidence. Inside one die, forensic techs had extracted a sliver of flexible PCB etched with part of a private key. Another contained a mathematic shard. Dice functioned as multi-sig wallet when combined. No single die unlocked the coins. Park sighed. "We suspect more sets exist globally. Your cafe was Seoul's node." "Then the criminals still need our set," Hannah reasoned. "They'll try again." "Not if we bait them," Park said, handing her a burner phone. "You'll pretend to comply with Lice's demand. We plant trackers." Hannah's pulse hammered. She was a researcher, not undercover agent. But she also felt responsible. She agreed, on condition she'd stayed visible with plainclothes officers. Saturday evening they returned to Meeple Mate, newly reopened. Social media ensured the place was packed again. Crime tourism. Officers blended as gamers. Hannah sat at the same booth, the same box of silent suspects open before her. Dice replicas near perfect lay scattered. Inside each, micro beacons pulsed silent signals. 8:02 p.m. the burner buzzed. Text, "Locker 23, one shot." Detective Park nodded. 2 officers shadowed Hannah as she walked to Yeonnam Station, weaving through weekend crowds. Locker 23 swallowed the envelope of decoy dice. She shut the door, snapped the lock. Officers settled on nearby benches, feigning phone use. 10 minutes. 20. Finally, a familiar figure drifted down the corridor. The tattooist. Hair hidden beneath baseball cap. She moved to the lockers with practiced casualness, entered a code, retrieved the parcel. Turning, she started away, then froze. Hannah followed her gaze. The hooded man, Lice himself, emerged from the other end, flanked by 2 new thugs. Competing factions? She pivoted, intending to bolt, but spotted Detective Park signaling restraint. Lice approached Tattooist. Conversation too hushed to hear. He extended hand. Tattooist backed up. Panic widened her eyes and she dropped the package. It cracked, spilling dummy dice. Lice realized betrayal, knife whisking out again. Tattooist kicked the dice, scattering like shrapnel across polished tile. Undercover officers converged. Shouts, footfalls. Commuters screamed. Lice slashed at one officer's arm, darted, grabbing Tattooist's shield. Hannah's heart felt like a caged bird. She ducked behind a column. Park's voice boomed, literal Korean imperative. "Second warning. Drop the knife. Guns drawn now." Tattooist twisted, elbowed Lice's ribs. He faltered. Officers tackled both. Knife skidded, clattering near Hannah's feet. She flinched as cuffs ratcheted. Scanners beeped, trackers on dice synced with handheld receivers. Within 20 minutes, the station cleared. Tattooist sat cuffed, weeping. She confessed under adrenaline flood. She owed gambling syndicate money after NFT speculation crash. Code broker real name Kim Do-hoon designed the plan with Lice, an international fixer. She printed the dice, agreed to courier them through game events across Asia. But she lost nerve in Seoul. Guilt spurred sabotage, tipping off authorities, an anonymous note that had in fact guided the police to monitor the cafe even before the incident. Hannah listened, empathy tangled with anger. 44 bitcoins recovered from multiple busts the following week. Thanks to data decrypted after partial keys across seas, dice sets were combined. Exchanges traced stolen coins back to a laundering ring stemming from North Korea's Bureau 121, though that part never hit public press. Silent suspects never reached retail. The prototype seized as evidence was destined for evidence room eternity. Yet in hobby forums the legend grew. A game so immersive it bled into life. A puzzle whose solution arrested criminals. Copies number 1 through 11 vanished. Collectors whispered auctions in darknet markets. 3 months later, Hannah visited Meeple Mate again. The cafe had bounced back, now advertising 100% crime-free gaming. She ordered a dalgona latte, opened her laptop. Messages awaited from Detective Park. Additional follow-up about testifying at trial. One contained a thumbnail, a security frame of Hannah holding the cracked die, adrenaline glowing in her eyes. Caption, our accidental hero. June and Yuna arrived bearing new Euro-style boxes. June slapped one. No mystery games tonight. Strictly agriculture and victory points. They laughed, heartbeats now gentle. As closing time neared, Hannah rolled a die from the cafe's communal cup. It was plain white, standard pit. Still, she held it to the light, wondering what secrets any object might hide. The lessons of that Thursday lingered. In an interconnected world, boundaries between play and reality could dissolve with the toss of a die. And sometimes, when fiction fractures, truth pours through the cracks, bright, dangerous, and impossible to ignore.